Hi guys, today we're going to learn about quadrilaterals and type of lines. These are very important concepts in the world and I thought it would be a good idea to make a video about it. So what we're going to do first is go over some things that you need to know about quadrilaterals. It says here that just because a quadrilateral is not a parallelogram doesn't mean it cannot be classified as a quadrilateral. For example, this trapezoid right over here, this is a quadrilateral, but it's not a parallelogram. If you don't know what a parallelogram is, keep watching because I'm going to cover that next. And also, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral, it's just not a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a whole separate group of classifications that only go towards some shapes like squares and rectangles. We'll talk about that next also. Number 2 says that a square can be a rectangle, but a rectangle cannot be a square. Right here, I have a rectangle that I drew. So, you can make a square out of a rectangle. So let's just pretend this line right over here. So these are two different squares, and then we have this line in the middle. Well, these squares cannot just break apart, but a square, as I drew right over here, can become a rectangle because all you have to do is just draw a simple little box right here. So that's a pretty easy thing to do, but what if we thought about it this way? You can't break a rectangle into parts because it's bigger than a square. But since a square is smaller, you can make it bigger. So the next rule says that parallelograms can never just have one pair of parallel sides. Like I said before, we will cover this in the next part of this video, but I will go over it briefly right now. A parallelogram, like I said before, is a shape with two pairs of parallel sides. We're also going to cover the types of lines in the next part, so keep watching. Squares and rectangles are two types of parallelograms. And like I said, a parallelogram has to have two pairs of parallel sides, which never collide. So now that you know about quadrilaterals, let's go on to the types of lines. Again, there are 3 things you need to know about types of lines. The first one says that intersecting lines can be intersected in any way possible. And this goes for shape. So right here, there's intersecting lines drawn. So intersecting, if you take this part, intersect, from the word, you can probably think back to a common word that we use maybe every day. Well, it's intersect. Intersect means to go into each other almost. So that's why these are called intersecting lines, because they go into each other and they can be drawn any way possible. So I also want to give you some tricks on how to remember if anything is an intersecting line, perpendicular line, or parallel line. So the one I have for intersecting lines are intersecting lines usually look like multiplication multiplication signs. And a multiplication sign is just an X. So yeah. Now let's go on to the second rule. Parallel lines can never, ever collide into each other. So right here we have some parallel lines. As you can see, these parallel lines look straight, like almost like sticks. So you can think about it this way. If I have some dirt right over here, and I have two, and I'm not sure if all of you have seen this, but when there's a baby tree growing and it's still really small, usually they maintenance workers put two sticks right next to it, one on either side, and tie it up with a rubber band, so then they secure it really hard, so then this tree can grow, and on windy days or anything like that, the tree can't fall over because it has that support from the sticks. So parallel lines are almost just like those sticks, but these sticks, the sticks that people put in the ground, can be a bit shifted because of the wind blowing against them. But parallel lines can never be like that. Parallel lines always, 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 always have to be two straight lines, because parallel lines just mean parallel means never colliding. So parallel lines is supposed to be two lines that never collide. So if I drew further, like if I took a line and I drew here, 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 all the way to the tippy top of the page, they can never collide. See that? It's because you need to have it it's because you need to have the lines never collide. So an example that of a line that is not a parallel line is something like this. If you see, these lines are diagonal, so they're like almost about to touch. If I drew a bit further, how about there? Let's see. Let's do the other side. See how they meet together? Well, parallel lines aren't supposed to meet together. So you can also think of them as like enemies. The parallel lines don't want to touch. So my trick to remember what parallel lines are is to just so my trick is in parallel lines look like equal signs, but they are turned 90 degrees. So that's what they look like. The next one I might have to go out of this box, but that's fine. So our next rule says that perpendicular lines have to have 4 right angles. So right here are our perpendicular lines, and if you see them in a different way, so I'll do them all in 4 different colors, but let's just take one. So if you see this line, this triangle, which, well, 90-degree angle, does you can also think of it as a triangle with it's open, and you can also think of it as a 90-degree angle. So if we drew 2 lines over here, 1 and 2. So these two lines just represent that there is one 90-degree angle. Then let's do the next one in a different color. So I'm gonna choose this one right over here and right here. So there's another 90-degree, and here there is one more 90-degree angle. And then let's do one last one in pink right here. So now we can tell there's four 90-degree angles because of the way we drew them. So let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is four 90-degree angles, which represents the four 90-degree angles that there are. And the way you can classify a angle, I'm just going to go over this briefly because my next video is going to be about angles. So another way to classify that they are 90-degree angles is just taking that perpendicular those perpendicular lines and then drawing a square in the middle. So as you can see here, all of those have perfect tiny little squares. And even if you have like an actual angle, you can do the same thing. Just you can put a little square. Let me do that again. I'll do it in red so it stands up. You can put a little square right there, and if that square looks perfect to you, then it is a 90-degree angle. So that's one way you can classify if it's a 90-degree angle. Another way is to just think about, so I'm going to draw a 90-degree angle right here. Okay, I'm going to just use the help here. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, and let me erase this real quick. So if you look at this right here, the 90-degree angle, you can just take the ruler or just draw it free-handedly, but I'll do it in yellow so it's easier to see, or orange. So if I drew another line over here, it becomes a not an equilateral, not anything like that, but at least it is a scaling triangle. And like I said, our next video will be not only about angles but also about the types of triangles, because those are just like one section. So you can draw a line right here, and this is the product you should get. And if it says that you're supposed to draw a parallel line and perpendicular line on your test, remember this. Let's do yellow. Actually, how about we do blue? Okay. Perpendicular lines look like addition signs. Signs. Okay, there we go. Signs, but sorry. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll have that ready for you. So my trick for remembering what perpendicular lines look like is to think about them as pluses. So let's go over that one more time. Intersecting lines usually look like multiplication signs. So here's our intersecting line right here. And parallel lines look like equal signs, but they are turned 90 degrees. Here is our parallel line. lines, and perpendicular lines look like addition signs or pluses right here. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and you will you will subscribe, like, and share. Um, um, and also, please don't hesitate to request any other videos in the comments of any of my videos. I will definitely try to get back to you and make that video. So, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.